Hello, guys. This is Clint Locklear from Predator Control Group, Wolfer Nation Trapping Radio podcast every Friday. And I want to take just a minute to go over something that you might find interesting. Now, what you have here in this bucket is the last part of an order of mink glands that I've got in, which I use in some of my lures. And I wanted to take just a minute to talk about mink glands. Now, mink glands normally come from a ranch, just like these did. And when they're skinning the mink, a lot of them go by machine and a lot of them go by hand. And it really depends on what you can get. Sometimes is all you can get, but I've got a good source on mink glands, and I want to show you a few things about them. This is pretty much how they come. You will see the fur part right here that is where the anus is. And then when they're skinning the mink, they pinch down on that and they cut this section out. All this section right through here. Now, the difference between some of the skinning machines that they use now to automate the mink ranches, a lot of times the glands get tore. And when the glands tear, all the goodness that we're looking for as a lure maker or you as a trapper wanting to play around with lures can be very diminished. Now, I want to show you something on a couple of these. You see those two balls right there? Those are whole, complete mink glands. They're not pierced. None of the goodness has left. So the quality of these are a lot better. So it's just one of those things to look at. Now, I've kind of pulled these apart so you can see them better. These are the mink glands right there. This other part is just skin and the fur that goes around the anus and stuff like that. And what I'm doing now is I'm just cutting these out, the actual glands themselves. I don't get as much volume as someone that just grinds this whole thing up, but I get a lot better quality. So the reason I'm telling you this, if you're wanting to have the best quality that you're going to have, the little balls are the glands. Now, this same goes with otter, guys, badgers, any type of weasel animal, even a weasel. They're tiny, tiny little things on a weasel. But that is the really goodness part of it. And another thing about mink glands is this is just fat, so that's probably not going to really help you very much, and that goes in the trash bucket. But these are the little balls that we're looking for. And mink, no matter where they come from or everything, they seem to have a different smell. Now, I've already done close to 4 gallons of these in the lure shop, and I can smell the mink before I come in the front door. So that tells you how strong these are, because all of the goodness that's inside, the actual paste of the glands and everything, are all intact. So when I grind them up, I've got all of that going on. Now, there's some different things to think about mink. If you don't know what mink is, I don't know how to describe it. But you have mink that are more sweet, and you have mink that seem to be a little more peppery. And I've played around with some mink before that have way more of a perfume, almost it gets caught up in your nose type thing. But this mink that I'm trying now has got a very sweet and it's got a peppery background. And if you watch my lure and bait making DVD, you know what I'm putting in here to hold that smell in here and how I'm handling these mink glands. So when you smell mink, it should smell like a mink. Now, if you've never actually bought mink glands, you may not even have any idea what this is talking about. But if you have, you want to get it as close to an actual mink smell, because I mean, it's coming through that unbelievably right now. So this is what you're looking at, and when you're buying mink glands, you want it to be really sweet, pungent, and the better ones that I found out when I tested, they seem to have somewhat of a peppery background, as strange as that sounds. That's like the connoisseur way of looking at lure ingredients. But I've got to get busy on these. I've got another gallon and a half of these I got to do. But if you've ever wondered about mink, this is what you're looking for when you skin your mink if you're wanting to catch them. Now, for an otter, they're about that big. They almost look like oil sacks off of a beaver, and you're not wanting to grind up all of this other stuff if you can help it. That is, if you're worried about quality instead of quantity. And since I'm only concerned with quality, I'm going to lose a lot. So when I buy this, that bucket was very expensive. This bucket was full when it came in yesterday. That's a very expensive bucket. I'm going to cut that volume down to almost 20% of what it was, but my quality is going to be so much better, and that's what I want in my lures that I sell. And I'm going to have some of these glands for sale on the website coming up here pretty soon. It's going to be a short order. I know how much of these I need. I'm going to have enough with what I already have set back in this, and I'm going to be 5 years out. That's what I try to do as a lure maker, and I recommend that if you're going to try to be a lure maker. So I'm going to set enough back so I'm going to be 5 years out where I don't have to worry about it. And then whatever excess is left, we're going to be selling them on our PCG store. And if you want to play around with some really good, high quality, right put up mink glands, you'll be able to get some until they run out. So hope that helps you out if you've ever wondered about the glands.